All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Speak the Truth. My name is Gary Johnson, and I'm going to turn it over to our NABJ 2021 Pioneer Award winner, DC's incomparable, historic 24/7, 365 sports broadcaster, Mr. Harold Bell. Over to you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. First, let me introduce my panel. Of course, we got Gary Johnson, of course, the CEO and founder of BlackMenInAmerica.com. Gary has done a fantastic one-man job with BlackMenInAmerica.com. Some of the greatest information and history that you want to find can be found on Black Men in America. I've been a part of that magazine.com for over 10 years now, and I tell you, it has really has kept me out front, and I really appreciate that. Joining us today will be, of course, CJ, Gary's son. CJ is really all things politics and sports. He also is now a contributor to BlackMenInAmerica.com. CJ, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day on this special day. And also joining us is Jacques, my man, Chevalier. I can't get my mouth straight. Chevalier, my main man. He's joining us again. Jacques, of course, is an entrepreneur, businessman in Washington, D.C., a native Washingtonian, a guy who's been out there in the struggle and know what the real deal is. And he's really been an asset to us here on Speak the Truth. Also joining us is my dear friend that we go back over 4 decades. She's been carrying the load and keeping me upright. She is a pioneer when it comes to television and radio. She was the first Black sportscaster in Kansas, came to Washington, D.C. with WTTG, where she became the sportscaster on Channel 5. She's a former actress, an advocate for civil rights, just a great lady. And I'm always glad to say that she's been my friend, and I'm sorry that she hasn't been able to put me on an income tax return. But I want to welcome Maggie Linton. And also joining us is Dr. Judy Fisher. Dr. Judy Fisher is new to the program, but she comes with a lot. Man. She's a graduate of Howard University. She has four degrees. She's a minister, an advocate for senior citizens, an advocate for those who are trying to do the reentry piece. And she has been really a steward in the Black community. And she's a native Washingtonian and from Berry Farm. So that really is special. I would like to welcome Dr. Judy Fisher. Let me introduce my special guest for this Father's Day. My special Father's Day guest is a recent grad of Hayfield High School in Arlington, Virginia. He's a multi-talented athlete. I mean a multi-talented athlete. He excels in football and track and field. He was named to the All-District second team in football. He plays in the Hayfield Band. He is an honor roll student. The awards he has received, they have their own special room in the Butler home for his awards. He received 1 football coaches award, 2 varsity football awards, 3 all-district awards in track and field, 4 Hayfield Athletic Honor Roll Awards, 5 football pin awards, the Jamie Alexander Grimsley Award, the Pre-Calculus Awards, and last but not least, a full scholarship to play football at the University of Alabama for the great Lou Saban. I would like to welcome to Speak the Truth. He's no stranger to Speak the Truth, Prince Butler. How you doing, Prince?
Doing good, Mr. Bell. Thank you for having me on the show again.
And thank you for being here. Let me introduce the guy next to you. This guy is one of my young men from back in the day off the playground. He grew up in the Cardozo corridor, U Street corridor. Harrison Playground, Hillcrest Children's Center, Harrison Playground, you name it. He came up in that struggle. And I'm so proud of him because of the great things that he has been able to accomplish. And this is really his day, Father's Day. And really, Prince is a special gift. You know, when I stop and think about William Poochie Butler, you know, great memories, because I had so many great memories coming out of that struggle up there in the U Street corridor. In 1968, I found a program called the Hillcrest Children's Center. Hillcrest Children's Center was a former facility for emotionally disturbed children. It's a part of Children's Hospital, and it was right across the street from Children's Hospital. And man, they had this beautiful building where they had a swimming pool in there. They had an indoor basketball court, an outdoor basketball court, and none of the kids on the block were able to go into there, you know, go in and participate in that program. And they were, you know, they were really teed off, man, when mostly white kids would come and to the facility, and some of them would stay over the weekend. So there was always something brewing up there. And finally, during the riots in 1968, they had some problems, but they couldn't burn the building down. Poochie, remember, that was a fortress, a brick fortress. Yeah. You couldn't set fire to it. You couldn't set fire to it. So anyway, they were still having some problems because kids would be hanging out there when the patients would come. So somebody said, well, you need to call Harold Bell and you know, bring him up here. Maybe we help solve the problem. And I went up to Hillcrest Children's Center with my wife had, and we sat down with Dr. Long, really a great guy, really a great guy. So he suggested that I take over the program on the weekends when it was not being used. And that didn't sit well with me because I was playing football on the weekends with a team called the Virginia Sailors, you know, trying to make it to the NFL. And so I said, man, I don't think I can do that. Well, my wife said, yeah, we need to work something out. We need to open this program up to the community because it was fantastic. Well, we did work something out. On the weekends that I was not there, my brother Earl, who was a metropolitan policeman at the time, and Andrew Johnson, who was a cop on beat, and these guys would sit in for me. But make a long story short, man, some great young men came out of that program, Harrison Playground, Harrison Elementary, and Poochie Butler was one of those people. But the kicker is this. His grandfather lived directly across the street from Hillcrest Children's Center. And this guy is a history maker. Y'all see all this stuff about the World Wrestling Federation? You see all that? He is one of the architects of the World Wrestling Federation, man. He and Vince McMahon, Vince would put Mr. Dudley, James Dudley, who's my mentor, in charge of Turner's Arena, which was famous. I know Jacques knew about Turner's Arena. And they would have jazz groups there, they would have boxing, they would have wrestling, and Mr. Dudley was in charge. He was Don King before Don King. You hear what I'm saying? And when he was the first Black inducted into the World Wrestling Federation Hall of Fame. And the McMahon family used to buy him a brand new Chrysler every year, man. So Poochie got some fantastic history, man. And Mr. Dudley, really, I'm sitting here because Mr. Dudley had my back, man. When they ran me off the air, you know, he would find me, give me $100, $50, you know, he was that kind of mentor, man. So this is a very special program when we're looking at Prince Butler and looking at his dad, Poochie. Okay, you guys take over. Come on in, Poochie. Bring us up to date of what's happening with Prince.
Well, I wanted to say, first of all, happy Father's Day again. CJ, it's good to see you again, brother. And I just want to say, today is a very special, proud day today. We'll be leaving next week to head down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Prince's family going to be heading to the University of Alabama. Well, they want him down there early. I thought we would be able to keep him home a little longer. But being that hey, Miss Hattie.
Hi. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Miss Hattie. We love you, Miss Hattie.
Love you.
being that,
Congratulations.
thank you, Miss Hattie. I guess being that's one of the successful part of University of Alabama in football, they get together early and get a little jump on the other teams in the SEC because they start a little early. So Prince has to go a little early. His mother's having a little separation anxiety right now. But I told her I'm not going to move to Alabama. So we're not doing that. But we both cry together every night because it's getting close to him leaving. But he's ready. And he said to me, Dad, you got to let me go. You know, it's like somebody hit me with a body punch. But I understood what he means. But I am so proud of Prince. As you mentioned, Mr. Bell, in the intro, that Prince did really good. I am so proud of him. He won all sorts of awards, from football to academics. The university, I always told Prince, one thing I told him, out of all the schools that he got accepted to, go where they want you, which is very important because you'll be comfortable there. And out of all the schools, the University of Alabama was one of the ones that really reached out to Prince. I mean, on his birthday, they reached out to him. I mean, they recommended him for the honors class. They gave him 2 scholarships. Not one, but they gave him 2.
Wow.
You know, and his recruiters still can't understand that. But they're very highly looking forward to Prince getting down there. So everything is set up. We got everything taken care of. So we're ready to go. So I won't miss this guy, but I'm looking forward to coming down there on Saturdays and watching him out there on the field.
Okay.
And
Prince,
you see, I got my Alabama gear on already.
I know you got it
I'm
all.
proud dad, you know. So,
hey, Prince, tell us about this situation, how you feel about going to, all the way to Alabama from Arlington, Virginia. You taking, I mean, you stepping into another world. You've been down there several times. How do you like the environment and the people?
Well, like you said before, I've been there before 2 years ago when I went down to the camp. And honestly, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, it's a whole college football town, which is one of the things I really like about it. And just the atmosphere and environment during football time. And just what Alabama stands for in terms of football is the main reason why that made me choose to go down there. And knowing that coming here from Alexandria to Tuscaloosa are 2 different worlds, but ultimately I'm more driven towards the goal I have in mind. So I'm not too worried about the location, but ultimately my dream and my goals that I have ahead of me.
Well, let me say this, Prince. I've had a chance to come out and see you play. I have seen the videos. I'm sorry we couldn't get the video up, but you're talking about an outstanding athlete. Here's a guy who can play multi positions, not only defensive end, outside linebacker, safety, cornerback. He has that kind of talent. He has that kind of speed. I'm hoping that Lou Saban puts him in the position that I think that's going to carry him to an All-American career. And if I was the coach, which I'm not, he would be the strong safety because this kid got so much range. He's got great size. He's a tackler. He's not as scared. A physical, environment, what it takes to be a great safety in the National Football League. You got the run of the whole field, and I think he's good. He would be a great safety, but Lou Saban would decide, and Prince will decide what that position. I see him being a great, strong safety, man, in the college football, and if he wants to, go to pro football. But I know his head is in the right place, and I'm quite sure Lou Saban and his coaching staff have already decided because they've been on his case where they want to play him. One other thing I want to say too, Poochie, we cannot forget you got 3 daughters, Alicia.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got
Alicia,
3 daughters.
That's right. And tell us about the 3 daughters, man. I know they are proud of it.
Well, I'm very proud of that. 3 daughters. They all got together and came home to see me for Father's Day early and the birthday coming up actually next Thursday. Mm-hmm. So Prince is the last one in the nest. He be gone. But the girls, they doing good. One in Hampton, Virginia, and the other two is here in Maryland. And the oldest one has the grandkids. I have my oldest daughter, Felicia. She has the 3 grandsons and the 2 granddaughters, which I was so happy to see them. And the other 2, they're fairly, I would say, girl, you may know a little bit about this in CJ. I finally got a little more extra money in my pocket then. Because I don't have to give them as much. But the funniest thing about them was I wasn't expecting. I seen a package outside the door, and I went and got the package and opened it up, and they gave me a T-shirt. And it was funny, on the T-shirt it says, "I'm not scared of anybody. I got 3 daughters." So whatever that means, you know, it really tickled me. But yeah, the girls are doing good. We all got together for early Father's Day because we were leaving next week for Prince to go down, so everybody wanted to get together. So we had a great time.
Okay, I want to turn over to the panel who may have some questions.
Yeah, the girls
raising a
did
young
something
man.
right today.
Hang on, Mr. Bell. We just had, before we get to questions for Pookie, we had a special guest who wanted to pop in real quick. And
Okay.
where's this special guest? Who is this? Where is this special guest?
Oh, Olivia!
Hey.
Special
Hey.
guest? What do you have to say?
Happy Father's Day.
All right.
And who are you? Who are you?
Olivia.
And who's your daddy?
Christopher.
You guys set this up.
All right.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank
Who's
so
your
much,
granddad?
Olivia.
Who's your
Thank you.
granddad?
Yeah.
Can't forget granddad. That's right.
Okay, CJ, why don't you come on in and follow that?
Bye,
Bye-bye.
CJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations, first of all, again, and happy Father's Day. It's great to hear you're going to, the premium college football powerhouse to go compete and earn your spot. And as Mr. Bell said, I think in the modern football game, the way it's played now, that positional versatility is going to be extremely beneficial to you. It's going to make you an even more valuable piece. So very excited to see what what your future holds. I don't have much more than that, other than it really helps you appreciate also the human aspect of these stories of not just athletes who are just sometimes exploited and commodified on a commercial basis, but a story of a father and a son and all the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to get there. People really take that for granted, and it's really valuable, and it's what makes sports really special.
That's right. Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, CJ.
I'd like to congratulate the young man on his accomplishments. I never had any sons of my own. I have a stepson from a previous marriage. But I know the way has been really difficult for young Black men in America. And I'm happy to know that you are one of those young men that were not aborted by the racism in this country. And as you leave to go to Alabama, I have a family down there, my daughter and my grandchildren and husband are there. I want you to remember one thing. You're going to be very popular. You're a handsome, good-looking, chocolate, strong African-American man. And there are a lot of sisters down there of all colors and persuasion would just love to have you in their dish for dessert. Please listen to your dad and your mom. We have a scourge of false allegations against young men with this YouTube business. Please, son, it's not worth it. You go with your mind set to come out of the accomplished. Remember your teachings from your mom and your dad. Your sense of morality, your sense of integrity will follow you the rest of your days. So will accusations that you didn't do. Don't spend your time on Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. It's just social gossip. You'll get accused from people you don't even know on social. I'm saying this because I was following a story about a young man whose whole life has just been ruined from social media. Don't do it. Okay, come out there. I would love for you to see you when you come out with your first degree, then go back for your second degree, then come back with that PhD. I'm gonna say, I knew that young man when, if I'm still around. But anyway, I wish you all the best. And thank you, Dad, for loving your son and holding on to him. And I'm sure it's by your teaching and your love and your example that he's come this far. I'm really, really proud of you, son.
Thank you. I can't take all the credit. I have someone sitting beside me, she's cooking, but she wanted to say thank you and hello.
Hey, Melvin.
Congratulations, Mom. You did a good job, honey. You had 2 men to keep it straight.
All right. All right. Come on. Anybody else? Maggie, Jacques, you out there?
I want to say congratulations to the young Black man scholar. Or I should have said scholar, then Black man. Or now you're a Black person, then you become a scholar. So I did say it right. That's right. They say go with your heart, go with your first thought. And definitely continue to succeed, and wish prosperity to you. And I hope that eventually all of the college athletes are paid for their services. And so I hope that you will get involved in that fight as best you can, brother. And so with that said, I'm going to mute my mic.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to add that amen to what Dr. Fisher said, because it's so true. I'm a Black woman, but there's some trifling women out there. So watch your back always, and choose your friends properly. Harold often says, if you lay down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. Yeah. Choose rightfully. Follow. And as I always tell people, follow your gut. Don't burn bridges, and always be ready to learn. And Harold's saying he'd like to see you play a certain position. What position do you aspire to?
Actually, Mr. Bell hit it around the dot. That was just one play.
All right. Well, the NFL can always use the right person with the right attitude. And you obviously have good family foundation, and always know that they're there for you. And a lot of other people are also rooting for you. And my sister is a Bama fan, so I'm gonna give her your name so she can root hard for you. And she also prays for those too. And I know you'll be set out with a lot of special prayers also from all of us, part of this crowd, and other friends. And when Jacques mentioned that you are a scholar athlete, and that's also so important too, because so many of the pro teams now don't just judge you by character, they also judge you because there's so much to learn by how smart you are. There are a lot of athletes that won't even make it to certain teams because they don't use their brains.
Yes.
And always, use your education and don't ever be afraid to learn. And I wish you the absolute best and God's blessings as you move forward with this journey.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, look here, guys. We're going to thank both of you for taking part.
Before we go, I just wanted to say one thing, that it makes us feel a little comfortable that he won't be there by himself. We do have a cousin that's already on Alabama's football team right now. His name is Phil Mathis, number 48, defensive tackle. He played in the national championship last year. So he's looking forward to Prince coming down. So he promised me he will take good care of Prince. So he's in his last senior year this year. So by the time he leaves, Prince will know all the ins and outs and everything. So that put me at ease, knowing that he does have a family member there that is already on the football team that would give him guidance.
Okay, Prince we got a family member close by too. That's a regular here on Speak the Truth. We got the district attorney, Michael Jackson in Selma. So that he might be coming down there to check Prince out too. So we got some people down there. Sure you do.
Yeah, but check him out. His name again is Fedorian. They call him Phil. Last name is Mathis.
Okay.
And his number is number 48.
Okay.
Defensive tackle.
All right, Prince, we wish you the best, man. And you guys have a great Father's Day. And looking forward to talking to all of you real soon, and to give Nelby our love on this day. And thanks for taking time out to be on here on Speak the Truth.
Thanks for having us again. Happy Father's Day to everyone. And we will keep everybody posted with pictures and everything when we get down there.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Roll Tide.
Roll
Roll
Tide.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Bell.
Okay. We want to move on now. We want to talk about some things that are happening in our community. And one of the things I want to talk about with this panel about Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday. Can anybody tell me what that's all about?
Yes, Juneteenth was the day that the slaves found that they had been free. It was some time after the initial proclamation that the slave owners didn't tell them. And so when they found out, of course, it became a day of celebration. And I attended the celebration yesterday at the Serengeti Cultural Center. It was beautiful. And we had a chance to hear speeches on our history. We looked at, artwork and whatnot from my ancestors. Met a professor there, 88 years old, unbelievable, unbelievable. But it's so important that we as a people understand where we've come from. You know, we just have so much going for us that has been hidden from us. But I decided I was going to name my podcast The North Star, because when the slaves were led out of slavery through the Underground Railroads in Kansas, plus in New York and what have you, Harriet Tubman followed the North Star. And I decided that I'm going to use that as a platform, that from here on that we look for the North Star. What is that? That is being positive about who we are, knowing about who we are, looking at what we're doing, and looking at a different lifestyle from this point on. I heard Dr. Umar Johnson says that Black people put together spend at least $1 trillion a year in the American economy. We do it on wigs, on fancy jeans and expensive tennis shoes, all kinds of stuff that we should be parlaying those desires to have while we build financial, stability for ourselves in homes and housing and what have you. And I'm looking at that. So Juneteenth is very special. And I almost feel like I'm not going to be really celebrating July 4th that much anymore. I'm going to make my happy day Juneteenth, because when you look at it, Independence Day, we did not get that independence. The white folks got it. We are still to this day in slavery, mentally, economically, socially, educationally. So we still have a long way to go. And Juneteenth, now that it's a federal holiday, we should respect it. We should observe it. You know, it took a while for Martin Luther King's birthday to be respected. People went shopping, they thought, oh, just a day off. But we've come to realize it's important that we acknowledge the patriots in our culture that fought and died for our liberty.
Okay, next. Don't be shy.
Yes, I'd like to say something. I totally, Dr. Fisher, am not in accord with the Juneteenth celebration. I'll tell you why. Because economically, it doesn't help Black people. It's going to benefit white folks, the power structure, the rich, the upper class, more than anything. If anything, Black politicians and others should have rejected that holiday and say, instead, give us the money, pay for education for our students, take away some of the debt that our people are being swamped with, especially in education and in housing and in healthcare. So to me, this is a complete farce, and I'm not criticizing you personally, but my opinion is that we're being misled, and that it's not going to do one bit of harm. All it's doing is benefiting white folks and a few uppity Blacks maybe who are able to, get a big, multi-million-dollar contracts through the government. But the masses it's no benefit whatsoever to them. So I totally disagree. I think it was a waste of time, and I'm not going to celebrate it personally. I'm going to continue to go to work. I'm going to continue to make my money. I'm going to continue to be Black and proud and a happily married man and a businessman. But because to me, it's a false holiday. So and it's just psyching our people out. So I say the same way with some of the other what I call poverty pimps. So now we got the federal government and engaging in poverty campaign against our people. And I know it may not sit well with everybody, but you asked for my opinion, and I think the name of the show is called Tell the Truth. Now, Harold, you come to my house Saturday, I have a pond behind my house, man. If you and Hattie look at me cross-eyed, I'm gonna be scared to walk past you. So, all right. So I that's just my opinion. All right.
All right, Maggie.
Well, I've been celebrating Juneteenth since I was a little kid. I grew up in Leavenworth, Kansas, but Fort Leavenworth had a lot of influence, and we have Buffalo Soldiers Monument there and everything else. So it was a day for people, especially Black people into the community, go to a place actually in Fort Leavenworth called the Hunt Lodge, and we learned history constantly on that day. It's kind of like, I understand what you're saying, Jacques, but I also understand what Dr. Fisher said. And to me, because of the way I grew up, learning about my history was part of my growing up. The community embraced it. The community made sure that we understood where our money went. And that day, we shopped Black. Even back then, we shopped Black. And that was, even if we had to go into Kansas City to get our food or to shop there, those were the days that we shopped Black, 100%. We did a lot of it on other days too. So my whole life, Juneteenth was something that was important. And I had this white friend sent me something, saying, oh, Juneteenth, what a celebration. And I wrote him and I said, I've been celebrating it since I was a little kid. You're just catching up with our history. And our history is something to be celebrated. It's not something to be hid under, things like that. And if it's a way to make more Black people aware of what's going on, then I say I applaud it. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. But I'm amazed at how many Black people didn't even know about Juneteenth. They didn't even know about the stuff that went on in Tulsa, Oklahoma years ago. It's like they didn't know about Black Wall Street. Well, I did. And I just think that we have been putting too much of our stuff, in a sense, hidden under, don't want to talk about it and things like that. Well, I was brought up to embrace it. And if this is a way for more Black people to become aware of something to be proud of, then yeah. But the thing they're proud of, to me, is something that was hidden. Again, white people wanting to keep control over Black people for years and years. 2 more years afterwards, come on. And that's what they're so mad about right now. They losing control. Well, it's control they should have never had in the first place. Mm-hmm. And if we don't embrace ourselves, if we don't take our money and put it where it's supposed to be, whether it's in our pockets, my parents always told me, you pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. Mm-hmm. And if you don't understand that, understanding financial literacy is one of the most important things. Harold, on my show, I used to have financial people on all the time, because we need to learn that we are not owed something, but we can control what we do have and move it forward and learn how to invest and learn how to do something with it and learn how to support true Black business the way it's supposed to be supported. So that's my thoughts on it. Juneteenth, yeah, I've known about it my whole life, and I'm 72 years old. So, and I look forward to it because the food was always good at the Hunt Lodge.
I didn't learn about it until I was 17.
CJ, come on in here, CJ.
So I agree with a little bit of what everyone is saying. So on the positive side, I think it should be a federal holiday or observed as one, just to be consistent. If we're gonna have like these awful things like Columbus Day for years and things like that, obviously Juneteenth and 4th of July and things like that, just for the sake of consistency. But I also agree with Mr. Chevalier, because it is more symbolic. It's more of federal workers get off. It's ironic that Maggie was talking about educating people about Juneteenth, because at the same time, every Republican is going statewide trying to block critical race theory in classrooms to make sure that people don't learn about these things. So it's kind of like you give and take there. So I don't know how many people, as you said, even know about Juneteenth or the history behind it. So I guess it's good in that aspect that more people will be exposed to it. But at the same time, it is largely, again, a symbolic victory when Joe Biden can close the racial wealth gap by canceling the student debt that he promised to cancel, that he has given up on, or the public option in healthcare, which would help a lot of people who can't afford their healthcare premium get healthcare. Those things would be more beneficial than Juneteenth being a federal holiday. That would help people more. So that, again, going to Jacques' point, that stuff would be way more important rather than the symbolic victory of, hey, look at this, we did something good. But there's a lot more good to be done, and there's a lot more good that could easily be done, with not even talking about, senators, but with the swipe of a pen, he could, legalize marijuana and get a lot of those non-violent drug offenders out. Those are things you don't need votes for, and those are things that can be done. So I think those would be bigger victories, like some criminal justice reform, giving up on the George Floyd Act, giving up on the Voting Rights Act, giving up on basically everything. So they're going to cling to these things, these very tiny symbolic victories, in lieu of major policy that would actually help a lot more.
Well, I
Gary?
think, I'm sorry.
Gary?
Can I just add something?
Hold on, Dr. Fisher. Let me go let Gary come in. We're going to let you come back. Gary?
Okay.
Yeah, I was just very suspect of how quickly it became a holiday. And that made me wonder and just say, okay, what's going on here? Because it happened so quickly. And I said, there must be some ulterior motive for this to go on. But like everyone else said, I was kind of amazed that a lot of people over the last couple of days that I thought should have known did not know about Juneteenth. And so if this is a way for them to get educated, as they say, I think I've heard several people say over the years, America is full of low information voters. If this is the way, what we have to do to get them there, then okay, let's hope they do something with that knowledge. But like Maggie said, I was raised in a household where my mother said, you pay yourself first. I had a passbook account when I was like 6 years old, and she took me down to that bank, Suburban Trust Company, and I had to open up a passbook savings account. And when I got that birthday money, it was all, and I'm a native Washingtonian, so we had Black businesses in our neighborhood. So we would go there school time and just shop Black. But so I had that consciousness. And when I got my work permit, I worked for, then they called them the Black Muslims, but Nation of Islam. But they had their businesses, and I learned when they all came. I worked at a gas station on Blair Road, and man, they just did business with each other. And then I said, okay, I noticed that they all do business with each other, and that was a big deal. And in order for me to get the job at this gas station, matter of fact, the book is sitting right there on my shelf, The Fall of America. I had to read The Fall of America at 14 in order to get a job at Dick's Golf Service. But I learned a lot. It certainly hasn't hurt me. If anything, it helped me.
Right. We'll come back to Dr. Fisher. I'm going to put my 2 cents in, because one of the things that, when I heard about, Juneteenth being made a federal holiday, I said, well, what about the anti-lynching law, which will really benefit Black folks? What about statehood that they keep jumping over? We got some big issues. Not that Juneteenth, we don't need it, but we need anti-lynching bill passed. We need the John Lewis voting rights bill passed. We need statehood for Washington, D.C. I sent an email out to everybody asking anyone, did they have an email address for the AARP? Did anybody have an email address for Joe Ann Jenkins, the CEO? These people are nothing but a fraud, man. They got 30 to 50 million seniors over 55. And when you got a problem, like I had one with fraud, I knew it was going on, because I kept going in and out of AARP because I didn't see what they were doing for seniors. And when you go to their fraud division, they got volunteers who tell you, well, go down to Upper Marlboro and go to court. Why? I'm 80 years old. Why am I going down to Upper Marlboro court where justice has been justice and just us? Why would I waste my time? I'm paying dues like 50, 30 million other senior citizens. You should have a department where you can write a letter saying, hey, y'all took this money from Harold Bell out of his account. It's fraud, and we see it right here in black and white. You can't even get in touch with Jenkins, ARP, the CEO. So I asked somebody, is she in the witness protection program? You know, here in the United States, you can't even get an email address for her. You can't even get a number directly to her office. So something is wrong with that. And we are, you know, man, we jumping up and down for the wrong things, man. Black folks are still being.
I did check.
I'm gonna come to you, Doc. Okay. Black folks are still being put behind the 8 ball in the back of the bus because we don't have our priorities in order. Come on in, Doc.
Okay, I did check on that name, and I see what the problem is. Number one, yes, they did not give any email for her or a phone number, but she really isn't the person we need to talk to. See, this is why I said the North Star. That North Star, let the people follow the North Star to get to their destination of freedom. If we would take Juneteenth and make it a day where all these issues that we have, listen, Biden cannot do it by himself. When you got all those racist, evil, demonic representatives sitting up there on the Senate, they just cannot pass a bill unless they got that. That needs, how do we fight this? Why can't we come together? Why can't Juneteenth be the coalescing factor for us to get together with these issues and push as a group? We can't even get our Black people to get vaccinations. When they get sick, if they don't have health insurance, they're gonna die. We already know that Black people don't get good health care, but they won't take the vaccination. It's free. All right, so 3 people die. You vaccinated 100 million people. What's more people die every day from ODing on drugs, from getting hit by a car, or riding around on these stupid scooter bikes up and down Pennsylvania Avenue, and nobody cares about that. Anything we get, Juneteenth, they let the people off. Don't go shopping and give the white man your money. Go someplace to a cultural center that has been established, learn about who we are. Let that cultural center have classes on how to manage your money. Seek out, I saw the hobo shop. Everybody know about hobo shop, but I was a part of the hobo shop. I was reading a book the other day, and they were listed as one of the big gangs in DC in this book. I said, what a lie. Hobo means helping our brothers out. I know, I worked with them. I know what they did. They were not gangsters as portrayed in them. See, these are the kind of things we need to be fighting about. I did check on the letter. There you are, that you sent me the email about that young man was trying to get back home. I saw where it stopped. But why did it stop? Why wasn't it followed through? We can use Juneteenth as a way to bring our people together. Too many people are doing things that's not helping us to look ahead to see where we need to go. We give up. The Black farmers are owed over $1 billion. The bill was passed because they closed up agriculture, closed up the Civil Rights Department for years, and the poor farmers were sending their applications to this money that was supposed to go to them, passed by Congress. Nobody checked that out. Why didn't somebody raise hell and say, we're doing, what's going on with this bill? $1 billion, and the money is still there. They still haven't gotten it.
Well, Doc, let me say something about that agricultural thing. We done had Lawrence Lucas on here several times, and we've been fighting that same fight. But one of the things that's really appalling, you got a racist by the name of Bill Sack, who's in charge of agriculture. They knew that this guy was a racist going in. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Booker, all of them knew that this guy has been operating with racist policies against the Black farmer. But
we should have had a march on Juneteenth against agriculture.
They sit there and put him back in office. That's the problem. We're not standing up for all the right things. So we here on Speak the Truth, we are well aware of what's happening with the Black farmer. But it seems like Booker, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, all the people put this guy back in office when there were thousands and thousands of farmers saying this guy's a racist.
But why
so, we got a problem.
Why is it so many of us don't even know about the problem? We are not getting the word out about what's going on. Every time I talk to somebody, I'm talking about the Black farmers. Oh, really? I didn't know. They don't even know about that. They're so busy running after their prepared foods in the white stores. They don't care where their veggies come from. They're not looking at how, they don't even think, most people don't even know we got Black farmers. You know, they think of the big companies. But this is what we have to use as a platform to bring us together. We just cannot give up. We cannot give up. We have to keep pounding away until somebody hears us. And it's not going to happen overnight. It hasn't happened in 100 years. So we still got a long way to go, but we have gotten someplace. We can each look at where we have got, where we've come from in our family. We have moved, though it's been slow. But there's so many other things out there that's taking Black people's attention that they would rather invest in and hip hop clothes and rapping and twerking and all this crap that they're doing instead of sitting down. There should be no reason that one Black person should be dropping out of school. I don't care if you don't have a chair to sit in. Dog's gonna take you behind the school. One little Puerto Rican kid went into a computer store and borrowed the sample thing on the counter to do his homework because he didn't have a computer at home. What did they do? They gave him one, then the company said, well, we'll give your school some computers. We have to keep up. We can't give up. We have to redirect and know where we are going. We're not going to where Jay-Z is going with his stuff.
We're not going the way the Black church is going. That's another thing. We're not going the way.
That's how you met me. That's how you met me, because my podcast is about pointing the church to the North Star. The church has been bought out by corporations. Look at all these gospel concerts that they have. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's not thinking about Jesus. Coca-Cola's thinking about his pocketbook, but they're willing to give some church maybe $50,000, $75,000 for their choir to be featured. Meantime, you damp down your message about liberation. You damp down your message about sanctification, about having your girls have some dignity about themselves, having their guys to keep his penis in his pants. Talk about that. No, the preacher's not going to talk about that. They're going to do what the people want them to do. They want their gospel. They want their golf setting. They want this banquet, that banquet, and the church is going. It's not the church of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's what it is. It's the church of the corporation. It's the church of the mammon. It's the church of the devil. That is what it is. Our church has been bought. Our people don't want to pray anymore. They don't want to go to church anymore. And every church, when they do go to church, they want the preacher to have his Mercedes every 2 years. They want the choir to wear expensive custom robes. You know, they want the newest electronic system. Meantime, you got people sitting in your congregation. Kids can't eat. They need money to go to school. They don't have books. They don't have computers even to get the basic knowledge. But in the meantime, we got this big church. And when Jeremiah Wright said, God damn America, he was right on it, because God cannot bless that mess. That is not his church. When we don't care about one another, I'm guilty too. I'm guilty too, until the Lord woke me up when I read Matthew 25. Where were you when I was in jail, J-I-L? I'm saying, oh my God. We feed, we clothe, we give lessons, but we don't provide for these people who have been canceled by society. You know why? Because we're so worried about us, me. Well, if you are a Christian, me has been taken care of. You need to be worried about your brother, because Jesus said, what you do for your brother is what's going to count in the judgment.
Okay, let's move on. I want to go to Chicago while we're talking about who cares about each other. Chicago has 200 more murders in that city than they had last year. 200 more dead people in Chicago, man. And this stuff is going on and on. And we got some of the most influential Black folks come out of Chicago than we have anywhere else in this country. We're talking about Louis Farrakhan. We're talking about Jesse Jackson. We're talking about Michelle and Barack Obama. You understand? Here, these people won't go get together and go in and try to find a way to save these Black folks, man. They got the financial know-how. They can build structures to have a safe haven for these kids to go to in the evening. What is Obama doing? All he cares about is building his library. So here we got a problem, a big problem.
That's not true.
Okay, somebody else come on in. Come on, Maggie.
Well, it's not just Chicago, it's Atlanta,
it's not
it's
just
Baltimore.
Chicago.
It's,
It's not.
I mean, there is something intrinsically wrong with our neighborhoods in the fact that we don't care. So many people do not care about their neighborhoods. I don't know about you all, but I was raised by a village. And if somebody was doing something wrong in my neighborhood, you know what? My mom made the phone call. Everybody used to congregate at my mom and dad's house, you know, and everybody called my mom Mama Linton. But you got told on, and your parents took care of it when you got home. They didn't come out and resent you because you told them or something like that. They knew that if they dropped you off at our house, you were going to be taken care of and that you were going to be cared for. But way too many people hold themselves up in their home as if that is where it begins and ends. But we have to start taking back neighborhoods and making sure that everybody in that neighborhood is okay. Because, you know, it's more than just the financial, it's the caring about it too. And helping open the doors and making sure, like we were talking about, knowing our history and things like that. But, you know, from my neighborhood to my church, to my Girl Scouts, to everything else that we were involved in, it was constant family information and caring. And I have friends that live all over this country, Black friends, and we keep up with each other now more on Facebook than anything, but they're still making strides. They're still doing the things that we were raised to do. And that makes a big difference. And I think way too often, you know, the young people are just out there running around, not doing anything. And when I say young people, I'm not talking about people your age, CJ. I'm talking about those that are even younger. You know, they're just not, they're not getting any guidance. And if parents are sitting at home, it's because they don't understand the pride that they should have in what we do and who we are and the strides that have been made up to this point. I'll shut up now.
Okay, we're running out of time. We're going to go around the horn and get something from everybody. Jacques, you got something to say, Jacques?
Yeah, I just want to say that the murders that are going on, that we as Black people tend to ignore, the Black on Black crime, are not being talked about enough. I don't think we need to sensationalize them, but it certainly has to be discussed. And those are the kind of things that I was talking about this Juneteenth holiday. Should have taken that money the money that it's going to cost to provide that holiday. I'm not saying that, you know, it's a bad cause or bad knowledge. It's good to have that. But when all of the murders that are happening in our community, and the only ones that get sensationalized are the Black Lives Matters folks coming out when a white cop is involved in the killing. I think that is so wrong. It disgusts me to no end. And you will get a lot of people on social media, and especially white people. And then the first thing we want to do is call them racist because they say, well, why don't you Black folks talk about the Black on Black crime? And a lot of us don't. And again, you're talking about the influential people that we have in America, the rappers, the sports figures, the entrepreneurs making all this money. Those are the people that can very easily be on the forefront because they get the media spotlight and can help, I think, change this around. But because some of that is glorified, the violence and the killing of one another, it's for a long time, we're going to continue to see, for a long time to come, we're going to continue to see these outrageous murders that now, any day, anytime it's happening, they don't care who is around. There's no more honor, whether you're with your mother, your grandmother, your little baby. I saw on the news the other day where this guy was shooting at a guy in New York City on the sidewalk with his two little, I think either his children or his nieces. They weren't no more than like 5 or 6. I don't know if anybody saw that the other day, but it was just so appalling and scary. And so that's what I wanted to say.
Jacques, you know, you said, Gary, do you have that clip on the NBA player that has stepped up and is doing and saying something, using his platform to try to improve the plight of Black America?
Is this the one on Donovan Mitchell?
That's right.
Yes, I do. Let's go to see that one right here. Here we go.
Murray do over the course of that second half, and I know you were matched up on him at the end there. You know, does that take away from what you're able to do offensively a little bit, Nate?
First off, before I answer that, I just want to, we all saw the video of the cop shooting Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. I believe it was Wisconsin. I just want to say, first off, I tweeted something that was the truth. This is bigger than just the game. I'm not taking anything from the game, but man, this is life. And there are times where, a lot of times, where we say we don't feel safe. It doesn't matter how much money, it doesn't matter who you are. And our voices that we use down here, I think it's very important for us to continue using our voices. It's inexcusable to see stuff like that. Whether, the how do I say this? The common excuse is, oh, you shouldn't have, walked away. You shouldn't have not listened to the cops. That doesn't deserve you to be shot in the back. Shot 7 times. That's just inexcusable, and I think that's really what we should focus on. We need to focus on, because the point of us coming down here was to create change, and I feel like we're doing a good job of that, but obviously not good enough. And it's obviously not going to happen overnight, but it's disgusting, and I really don't know how else to describe it. As an African American male, and I have my sister and my mom and my dad and my friends and family. When does it stop? When do we feel comfortable? When do we feel safe? I'm not saying, don't arrest the guy because he's a criminal, but man, he doesn't deserve to be shot point blank, grabbing his shirt 7 times. It looks like he was just shot on the street. It didn't even look like it was an officer shooting, and I think that's what's even crazy about it. So I just want to get that off my chest, and it's really disappointing. It's tough, man, and I just want to stop. To be completely honest with you, and yeah, that's that.
Okay, Gary, that's Donovan Mitchell, who's one of the brightest rising stars in the NBA. He was talking about Jacob Blake, who was shot in the back, going to his car, opening the door up, walking away from an officer. And he said, nobody deserves to be shot in the back like that. You understand? And this guy is paralyzed, may not ever walk again. But what I wanted to show that clip, because Gary, you were at the Miracle Theater in 2019 when we honored my aunt who had turned 100 years old. I was showing my Muhammad Ali documentary, and Hattie and I didn't make it to her birthday, 100th birthday, down in Columbia, Maryland. The car went bad or something. So I said, well, since I'm having this Muhammad Ali thing at the Miracle Theater on Capitol Hill, why don't I bring Arnie Lane in, who is still 100 years old, and a belated birthday, and honor her. So I did. I brought my aunt in, we honored her. In fact, she's 102 years old now. Last week, she turned 102. But what happened with that is because I had given my aunt one of my books, and for her birthday, and it went through, showed all the great people that I had interviewed and the politicians that I had been with. And she happened to tell me one day before the theater, Harold, you're not the only superstar in the family. I said, huh? What you talking about, Arnie Lane? She said, you're not the only superstar. She said, your cousin Donnell Mitchell plays for Utah. I said, what? So make a long story short, I had a chance to catch up with Donnell, and had a chance to catch up with his father, who works for the New York Mets. And this is a fantastic class act young man. To show you what he did, when I came up and told him I was his cousin, he looked at me and grabbed and hugged me. And I got to asking him, I said, do you know you got a 100-year-old aunt who lives about 30 miles from here? He said, no, I didn't know that. So I said, wow, yeah, you're Arnie Lane. I said, your father knows her. So what happened is that Gary and those who here with us, his father was supposed to come on, speak the truth several times, never showed, right? Never showed. So in the meantime, Donnell Mitchell signs in 5-year extension with the Utah Jazz for $196 million. You know what the first thing he did? He gave $12 million to his middle school, $12 million back to his middle school. And that's what Black athletes should have been doing all the time, because that same money, Uncle Sam's gonna take it anyway. So somebody has pulled this brother's coattail and said, man, let's reach back. Not only has he done that, a white charter school had parents denied their white kids to take a class in Black history. They didn't want the kids, they opt out, say you can opt out. So Donnell Mitchell stood up and said, no, that's racist. That is racist for that school to do that. We don't have that kind of athlete like Donnell, who's just going into his 4th year in the league. We need more of these Black athletes to use these platforms. And I know that it's possible because I started it all right here in Washington, D.C., of professional athletes using their platform to come back into the community. So I'm just proud that this young man that I'm in the family, or he's in my family, to have that type of reach back, because actually it's traditional in the Bell family, goes back all the way back to Sumter, South Carolina in the 50s, man. When my uncle was the first Black attorney in Sumter, South Carolina, and he used that platform to stand up and speak out. And the Ku Klux Klan ran him out of town. They burned a KK cross on his lawn. Not only did that happen, they killed my mother's father and mother, who were teachers. They killed them. My mother and them and sisters got out with nothing but the clothes on their backs. So we got people that have been making sacrifices. And that's why I've always stood up and I've held on to this information until I decided I was going to write this book on my family tree. So man, congratulations to Arnie Lane. She has moved down to Florida. She was living out in Columbia, Maryland by herself. And I was calling her every day, I was calling every day to check on her. Well, guess what? Donnell's grandmother came from Florida, drove up from Florida to take Arnie Lane back to Florida with her so she wouldn't be living by herself. So yeah, so there are a lot of stories in the Black community, man, that we don't know about. A lot of people that made sacrifices have lost their lives. So I take my hat off to Donnell and hope that his father gets his act together, because it has to be togetherness and we have to be one team. Go ahead, Gary.
Well, I guess, as we wrap up, one of the things is when I listened to all of the panelists, even though your points were divergent, I think what I heard was, over time, when things go unchallenged, they seem normal. And so we've got to challenge some of these things. So like these murders and all these other things, just that we don't get numb to them, that we just don't get numb to some of the things, because it's easy. You turn on the news and if you're not careful, you'll catch yourself just yawning like, what else is new? That's bad. Any life leaving like that is bad. So just over time, when things go unchallenged, they seem normal. We just have to make sure we don't fall into that.
Okay, everybody got a minute. Jacques, you want to come back and close out?
Okay. I'll take my minute first. We
Okay.
also need to approach local problems. Case in point, my trash bin was being left open by Black drivers, the contractor who has the job for the county. I asked them to close it. They didn't. So I put a note on there. I said, this is my last time I'm going to ask you. I'm going to take action. So I said, wait, I'll give them one more chance. I spoke to the supervisor of the truck. He said, Miss, I'm so sorry. I'll assure you, we'll put your your can back. That destroys a neighborhood when they got cans all over the street. Flies, rats get in the can. We have to be proactive for anything that's going wrong in our neighborhood. We pay taxes. We are paying their salary. So whatever you see something that needs to be done in your neighborhood, you need to take the bull by the horns. And if you have to go to the state with it, go. If you have to speak to them directly, go. But it makes a difference. So now I don't have to worry about my trash cans being nasty and dirty and full of water anymore, because the guy driving the truck is the supervisor of the guys who emptied the cans, and they told her, put the lady's stuff back on. That's all I asked. It's done.
Okay, Jacques.
Yes, I just want to say thank you, Gary and CJ, for your service today. Happy Father's Day to both of you. And I love the intellectual wisdom that you all get to share with us, and that you all are opinionated, but not favored. Don't show any favoritism, any one particular thought, which is the way that we should be. It's good to have different opinions. And so I'm just thankful for that we can all do that. And we're still friendly with one another. So that's what I'd like to leave with.
Okay. Maggie?
Amen. I got nothing to say. I agree with everybody.
Okay.
It's like trash. Yeah, where we live, Harold.
Yeah.
People use all along up by the tree lines and stuff like it's their trash can. And my parents always said, if there's trash in front of your house, it didn't matter if you put it there. You pick it up. Yeah. I look around all these neighborhoods. There's trash cans sitting right next to, and people throw that trash out. And doggone, if there's anything that pisses me off more than anything, it's trash. And it's like, it's too easy. Don't throw your trash out here. If you go into your house, take it with you. Put it in the trash can. I agree with you, Dr. Fisher. It's not just they put the cans back up on our cans. But it's like, take your trash home. Pick it up. And if you see it sitting there, pick it up. So that's my trash comment for the day.
I'll tell you,
amen.
CJ can attest to this. When he was a little boy, he and his brother, they come home from school, and the neighbors' trash cans are out there by the street. Before they come in the house, I say, hey, go take Miss Horsey's trash cans. Go take this, put them on up there, and take care of it.
Pride in neighborhood, pride in where you live. It truly does begin.
Right.
All right, CJ.
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of multifaceted problems that were brought up today, but it does go back to community and to education and things like that and messaging. And like I said, a lot of people are unaware of the problems or even how to solve them or the scope of them. And the media does a terrible disservice to people when they cover stories, just, TMZ type gossip stuff over substantive stories that will actually affect people's lives, because they are also being bought off by a capitalist system where they're chasing ratings. They're not chasing the education of the masses is not their priority. It's about what will sell and what advertiser dollars and things like that. They're paying for access to these politicians. So, they're playing softball with Joe Biden and some of these things. And it's really frustrating. So if we need to get organized and informed, it would be a bottom line.
Obviously, I'm in the not wrong business. I've been in broadcasting for 49 years and I ain't never been paid nothing. So,
I know,
and I also don't lie.
Yeah.
And I would say 99.9% of the people that are in broadcasting don't lie about things. See, it may not be what you want to hear and the way you want to hear it, but they're not lying.
Well, we got to close this out now. I just, my wife had in on Sunday mornings, we haven't been able to go out and go to church, and we listened to Howard University, the Rankin Memorial Chapel. Well, they had a guy on this morning by the name of Bishop Darren Moore out of New York. And his sermon was titled, "This Is Us." So I don't have to tell y'all that you all need to call Howard University and get that sermon. That is one of the most dynamic sermons I have ever heard. And he touches on all the bases and calls all the names. So you get a chance, call up Howard University, ask them to send you that CD or DVD or whatever it is, and sit down and listen to it. I just want to thank, everybody on this Father's Day, and thank for all your support and helping and reaching back. But we got to do it together. We got to do it as a network. And I want to say we want to wish the best of luck to our special guest, Poochie and his son, Prince, on their journey down to Alabama, to the University of Alabama to play football and get an education and come back and help somebody. Until next time, this is, of course, Speak the Truth. And remember, you cannot soar with eagles if you're hanging out with chickens.
All right.
Happy Father's Day.
All right. Be safe, everybody.
You too.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Harold Bell. My wife Hattie and I founded a nonprofit organization in 1968, shortly after the riots that almost destroyed my hometown, Washington, D.C. The program caters to the needs of at-risk children as it relates to social services such as education, law enforcement, drug abuse, gang-related violence, and other antisocial behaviors.